Pass, 1, 2, check. I call to order the regular Board of Education meeting on September 26, 2024, 7:01 p.m. in the boardroom of Parker High School, and ask for a roll call, please.
Mr. Grossman.
Here.
Dr. Morrow. Mr. Arkin.
Here.
Mr. Angeli.
Here.
Dr. Livingston.
Here.
Mr. Brandhurst.
Here.
And Mr. Kowski.
Here. I move to enter closed session for the purpose of fixing the employment, compensation, discipline, performance, and dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district or independent contractors and specific volunteers, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation for a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the local government wage increase transparency act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted, held in accordance with this act. Collective negotiating matters between the district and its employees or their representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. Litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body is filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Dr. Morrow. Mr. Arkin.
Yes.
Ms. Angeli. Mr. Grossman.
Yes.
Mr. Brandhurst.
Yes.
Dr. Livingston.
Yes.
And Mr. Kowski.
Yes. We will proceed with our introductory reports. And starting that off will be our student showcase. Dr. Johnson.
So we have two showcases today. Really excited to get this started off again this school year. We're going to start by focusing on academics, and our mathematics department is going to go first. So let's have it was like Dr. Fiorenzo's coming up.
Huh?
Oh, yes.
Hi, good evening. I am super excited to be sharing something with you all from the math division. I do want to start by telling you that Dr. Fry wanted to be here tonight, but her daughter is getting married tomorrow, so she is in the middle of some family festivities. So she sends her regrets that she can't be here, but wants you to know that she is super excited that her math teachers are going to be honored for some really hard work. Is there a way to make that bigger? No?
No,
That's as big.
that's as big as it goes Zoom.
I cannot see that from back here.
I did not see that from up here.
So it's not looking good for me. Okay, so as you know, I'm sorry. As you know, our strategic plan has us monitoring the growth of our students in math and in reading and writing and in.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, in the area of math, we wanted to grow our students by certain percents, each one 2%. Specifically our African American and Hispanic students at larger percents so that we can work on closing that achievement gap. So our baseline metrics for 2023 are in this small print up here. I'll read them to you. Asian students were at 93%, and they needed to meet the target by June of 2025 of 95% of our students who are Asian meeting that growth target. And 96% of our Asian students met their growth target. For our Black students, 70% was the baseline metric in 23. We wanted them to reach 80% of our students meeting that growth target, and 83% of our African American students met their growth targets. For Hispanic students, it was 85. They were supposed to, by June of 25, 89% were supposed to meet that growth target, and 92% met their growth targets. For our multiracial students, it was 89% was our baseline. 91 was supposed to be the target that they met, and 95% of those students met their growth target. For our white students, it was 92% as the baseline, 94% is the target that we were supposed to meet by 25, 96% met. Our free and reduced students, 69%, they were supposed to reach 71%, and 85% of our students in the free and reduced population met their growth targets in math on the SAT. Special education, 67%, 69% were supposed to meet by 25, 75% met. So we are super impressed and proud, not only of our students, but our teachers, that every single one of our subgroups has already met their growth targets for the year. So we will be stretching and reaching for some different targets here shortly. It will not be the ACT, but we will get some growth targets. But we just want to honor and recognize the hard work that our math division has done under the direction of Dr. Fry. They have changed curriculum, they have changed textbooks, they have worked relentlessly to change their instructional practices. We have several, Joyce Skyda, and it's gone right now. Yep, Adam Vader, and then if we go to, I have to do it. I'm sorry. Just so you know, math division, the rest of the math division who couldn't be here, but we just want to recognize their hard work and are super impressed.
Thank you so much. And now for our next recognition in the if you build it, they will win category. Are you coming up, Nicole? Great. So our athletic director, Nicole Lebson, is here to recognize last year's boys state winning track.
All right. Oak Park and River Forest High School, as some of you know, is among the top 3 Illinois high schools who have won a state series. I'm proud to say that last spring, Oak Park took home its 51st state championship, and it was in track and field. At this time, can you please join me in welcoming our 3A track and field state champions? The boys track and field team accomplished all of their goals for the 2024 season, winning indoor conference championship, outdoor conference championship, sectional championship, along with the IHSA 3A state championship. The sectional team, some of the athletes here represented with us today were a part of that, and they won their sectional by over 150 points, qualifying in 17 out of 18 events, making them qualify for the state meet. At the state meet, athletes earned all state honors, including 3 state champions, and their point tally was enough to secure the IHSA 3A state championship for the team. This is the school's 18th state championship in boys track and field, which also holds a record in Illinois. Each of our athletes and coaches who participated in the state track meet received rings that tell a story about the 2024 state meet, as well as the rich history and tradition of Oak Park track and field. On top of the ring, it features an Oak Park logo in blue and orange prominent lettering. There are 18 stones surrounding the logo, representing the 18 state championships for boys track and field. Around the rim of the ring features the word state champions, along with 8 additional stones representing the 8 all-state athletes whose scores contributed to the team title. Inside of the band, the ring states the team's quest of finally achieving all 4 goals of winning indoor, outdoor, conference, as well as sectionals and state. At this time, I would like to call forward our head boys track coach, Tim Hasso, to introduce his coaches and athletes.
Thank you so much for the track. I was told I've been, this is my 24th year here, and I was told it was mathematically impossible to have a track on campus. And it was just, we're just gonna go other places and we're gonna figure this out and we're gonna compete, go from there. And the ability to do the things that we do in our own backyard, the time we save and everything, like it truly means a lot to me. To have people invest in us, that believe in our vision is very important to me. So I appreciate everything that you guys have done to push forward opportunities that these guys have to succeed. Thank you. We have a number of coaches here. Ty Garland coaches shot put. His son was the state champ in the shot put. He's off the US field. Kevin Allen is our super coach. He coaches sprints and jumps. He coached long jumps. 100 meter state champion. Alex Sockett and Harold Leonard coach sprints. Kirsten Weissmantel coaches pole vault. Am I missing any coaches? Corin Leonard coaches hurdles. He's going to take over for his grandpa in a few years, so he's been being mentored by a guy that's officiated Olympics. So we are trending in the right direction. And with the athletes, if the athletes don't mind coming on. These kids are all juniors. Like I said before, we lose a few points with Caden, but we're bringing a very strong group of athletes back, and we're going to make another run at this thing next year. So thank you for your investment in us. Thank you for your vision and belief that we can do great things with the proper resources. Thank you.
I'm Caleb Scholes. I did the 100 meter, 200 meter, 4x1, and 4x2.
I'll say, boy, I did the long jump, 4x1, and triple jump. I'm Kingston Peterson and I competed in the 4x2.
And that these are just some of your state champions. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
All right, I have one more little surprise thing that they don't know is happening. It's my pleasure tonight to inform you that our head coach, Coach Hatto, has been selected by the U.S. Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association as the 2024 Boys High School Track and Field Coach of the Year for the kids. So this year, it's yearly award is proudly sponsored by the U.S. Marine Corps, and it is something that is voted on by high school track and field coaches across the state, and Tim was selected for 2024. Congratulations. Thank you so much, and I know I hit some of our coaches, so Joyce I'm looking at. The joke has become, if you build us these facilities, we're gonna continue to win state champions. So in 2 years, I expect to maybe be here with swim, water polo, maybe a basketball team or two. So thank you guys in all sincerity for your continued support. As shown by our athletes, it is making a difference in our athletic program. So thank you.
Student council? Doris Mill. All right.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nora Butterly. I'm the board representative, the student board representative for this year. And I just wanted to start today by kind of introducing myself and kind of explain what other involvement I'm in. I am, like I said, I'm the board representative here, and I'm also an officer in the Best Buddies Club. I'm also a leader of the leadership program, and as well as a cross country and track runner. I was named cross country captain this year, and I'm also a part of a local organization, the Cook County chapter of a organization called First Readers, which provides monthly literary resources to underprivileged youth in the community. But yeah, that's basically just some information about me. This past Saturday, if you didn't already know, we hosted our homecoming dance. The theme this year was Tangled. We had student council had a fun time decorating and planning for this year. We decorated the 2 hallways, the one near the cafeteria and the hallway leading into the field house from the hall. Student council also planned by decorating the main entrance area. The days leading up, we picked all the themes this year, and we tried to promote school spirit by taking over the OPRF Instagram page to try to hype up the dance and get more people into doing the themes. This year, instead of homecoming court, we did something called the Most Spirited Husky, which we felt was more fitting. What we did is we sent a Google form out to the student body during their advisory so that they could vote on any representative within their own grade. They voted on 2 people they thought were the most spirited within their class. And then the following Thursday at advisory, we then sent out a list of the top 10, I believe it was, of each class, and you would then vote for that 10 list to see who's the most spirited in your class. And then at the pep rally, the student council officers announced who those most spirited Huskies were, and we gave them gifts. And we thought that was more fitting than homecoming court this year. Yes, and then moving on, this past Wednesday, so last night at student council, we discussed kind of some student concerns that we thought were important, and also that many people were showing a lot of support and kind of concern towards. And the first one was that many students within student council and also within my classes, people I've talked to, have voiced their frustration about how all the entrances, but the main entrance closed exactly at 8 a.m. And we were kind of thinking that if we were able to give students a buffer period of about 5 minutes, it would make it so that instead of having to walk all the way around the building and risk a tardy or even a partial absence, they can have that 5-minute grace period, make it into the building and be less late to their first period. We thought that it would, like I said, reduce tardies, reduce partial absences, especially with construction going on. It's kind of hard to have to walk all the way around the construction. You can't like pass through the mall by the field house area. And I know a lot of people have voiced their experience with being late to class 10 minutes or more, and we just thought it'd be a good thing to bring up to you guys. In addition, kind of a similar situation, we kind of discussed how maybe it'd be a good idea to put more temporary ID stations at the entrances instead of just the main entrance, because I know a lot of students sometimes like they'll leave their ID in the car on accident, or they're accidentally at home one day and they don't really realize until they're walking up to the mall entrance, or they're walking up to the entrance on Erie over here, and they're forced to walk all the way around to the main entrance. So we were thinking if more temporary ID stations were located around at the other entrances, that students would then not have to risk a partial absence by walking all the way around, or risk a tardy, is a tardy in most cases. But and they could just access a temporary ID station at the entrance that they usually go in. And it also reduces the problem of having that huge line by the one temporary ID station by the main entrance. I know a lot of students are frustrated with having to wait in that line. It gets pretty long sometimes, so we were thinking that would be a good idea to bring up with you guys. And finally, a lot of people were also a little concerned with the new off-campus lunch policy. So the current policy that was put into place is that with one unexcused absence in one period, you cannot go off campus for, I think it is a 4-week period. I think that is the new policy. And we discussed this, and we do feel it is a good idea to make these restrictions so that it's seen as like a privilege to go off campus, you know, that not like everybody is going off, but we were thinking that one absence, sometimes it can be a mishap, sometimes there's a miscommunication between a teacher or a substitute, or maybe you were only tardy, but you were tardy while your teacher was taking attendance and they marked you absent instead of tardy. And we feel that if the policy was switched to 2 absences, 2 unexcused absences, which demonstrates a pattern of missing class, of skipping, things like that, rather than just one unexcused absence, we feel that would be more fair to our students, because sometimes you're not able to get that issue fixed. So we feel that it'd be more fair to most students, because we do feel that 2 unexcused absences does definitely demonstrate a pattern, does demonstrate an issue, but we felt that one kind of was maybe mishaping had been miscommunication. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for today, so thank you.
And now our superintendent, Lucas, that's fine.
A few announcements on my end here. 3 to be exact. First, congratulations to senior Alejandro Medina on receiving the 2024 Outstanding High School Student Award in Speech Theater from the Illinois Communication and Theater Association. The award recognizes an outstanding Illinois high school student for accomplishments in speech and/or theater activities within their high school, and for leadership and significant service to the school and the broader community. Congratulations. Kudos also to the English teacher Rex Ovalle on his election to the chair of the Secondary Section Steering Committee of the Executive Committee for the National Council of Teachers of English, otherwise known as NCTE. Rex will represent the interests of high school teachers nationwide and ensure the organization provides meaningful publications and professional development. So congrats to Rex. And last but not least, later on in our agenda tonight, you will note that our board will vote on a resolution recognizing semifinalists and other honorees in the PSAT National Merit Competition. We also wish to offer congratulations here to the 2025 National Merit Scholarship Program's commended students who are not part of that resolution. The following students have been recognized for their exceptional academic prowess demonstrated by their outstanding performance on last October's PSAT. And the students are as follows: Sophia Ayala, and my apologies for any names that I don't get quite right here. Sophia Ayala, Henry Bocevich, Helena Booth, Jacob Botarf, Jacob Brooks, Ian Buchanan, Melina Data Numana, Bryce Deal, Christian Elstein, Clara Franson, Franklin Gilfeller, Natalie Goldstein, Alexander Gossett, Lev Kabaira Hummel, Vivian Leyland Kim, Jessica Lee, Joshua Lopez, Sophia Lynn, Grace Medlaw, Julia Matthias, Miles Millhouse, Jasper Morrison, Nandan Nakkarni, Liam O'Connor, Anika Pauline, Dylan Pierce, August Sani, Benjamin Schmolinger, Jasper Scala, Eli Stein, Sophia Welch, Sophia Wong, and Lily Zimther. So congratulations to those students. It's awesome that that's such a long list. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
And last report for FOIAs, please.
5 submitted, 5 resolved.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that takes us to our employee and student recognition section. Today, we are pleased to continue our employee recognition program. Recognition of the 2024-25 school year. The employee recognition program is sponsored by Oak Park Bank, a Wintrust community bank. Chris Griffith is here to present gifts. There you go. To the September winners of our employee recognition program. So, take it away.
First tonight, we'd like to congratulate Peter Ruzicka, history teacher. I hope I pronounced that right. Yes. Peter was selected as Teacher of the Month. Here are some of the highlights from the nominations received for Peter. Mr. Ruzicka is a dedicated, empathetic role model who effectively handles challenges, communicates with students, and fosters a positive atmosphere. His openness and warm demeanor make him an asset with the art. Congratulations, Peter. Is there anything you'd like to say?
I think I got a big enough voice, but no, I was just gonna say I consider it a privilege to teach here. It's somewhere I always wanted to be, so I plan to be here for about, probably I think I got 15, 20 more years. So thank you so much for this honor just to teach here, and then to be recognized feels pretty awesome. So thank you, my friends. And I'd love to have my little kids here, but it's bedtime. So I also appreciate my mom coming in from Mount Prospect. I love the school so much that when I knew we needed subs and she retired, I was like, you better come here too. So I really just appreciate that, like, clearly OPR is a community to us and to our family. So thank you guys.
It's a photo op. We're not going to pass out. Take that. All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Okay, next, is Ms. Gardner here tonight? Excellent. Is it Tashina? We would like to recognize and congratulate Employee of the Month, Tashina Gardner, USF Team Secretary. Here are some of the highlights from the nominations received for Tashina. Ms. Gardner is a dedicated and proactive team member who ensures smooth operations, supports students through various activities, and brings warmth and empathy to every interaction, making her an invaluable asset. Congratulations to Sheena. Is there anything you would like to say?
Sure. Yay, Christina.
I just want to say thank you so much for nominating me to be Employee of the Month. I'm actually an alum here, graduated in 2017. So it's kind of like a full circle moment for me, being Employee of the Month at a school that
grew up in. So I just want to say thank you to the people that nominated me as well, and thank you for my close family and friends that are here to support me. It means a lot to me. So thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Here, I get my business out of
Thank you.
I would also like to extend congratulations to our volunteer of the month. Leonie Lloyd, is Leonie here? No, okay, well, we'll talk about her anyways. Here are some of the highlights from the nominations for Leonie. Ms. Lloyd plays a vital role in marching Huskies, coordinating uniforms, meals, and volunteers while being the communication hub for parents and providing personal care for each marcher. So congratulations again, Leonie. Thank you.
And today we're also pleased to continue our new sustainability recognition program. We recognize 2 sustainability champions, 1 student and 1 employee, for their exemplary efforts in environmental sustainability. So is Poppy here? All right. Congratulations are in order for you want to be Poppy or?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go. For Poppy Booth, who also was just recognized moments ago, right? So twice in 5 minutes. Our student sustainability champion. Here are some of the highlights from the nomination received for Poppy. Poppy, a longtime Enviro Club leader, will attend the Climate Summit COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. As a student delegate. She also moderated a panel with Harvard researchers and contributed to the sustainability scorecard team. So congratulations for Poppy. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, thank you so much for this award. It's been really great being involved with the environmental community at OPRF. Enviro Club has been really amazing, and thank you to Ms. Wong, who's here. She's the Enviro Club sponsor. Yeah, so thank you guys.
Are you ready to go to Baku? Are you ready to go to Azerbaijan?
Am I ready?
Yes.
Yes.
There's your,
Okay.
and the water support.
Wow.
Well, I'll get you in a second.
And we also have the Scaffolding Sustainability Champion for the month, and that is Melissa Godinez. Is Melissa here?
Stop it.
Melissa is an English teacher, and here are some of the highlights from the nominations received for Melissa. Melissa, along with her English department colleagues, revamped a unit in the freshman curriculum to focus on sustainability across multiple categories. Hundreds of students will now research sustainability methods for a synthesis essay. So congratulations again to Melissa for this award.
Okay, that completes our recognition, and our next segment is give a little bit of chance for shuffling, which is fine.
Okay, see you tomorrow. I got you on the recording.
Station.
Oh, so you, well, that's pretty sure.
He was brought in pronunciation, did you know?
Well, no, it didn't even say the capital. It was. Is it? Okay, we are moving on. Our next order of business are public comments. Lisa?
No.
Okay. And then we now will have a public hearing for the fiscal year 2025 budget. The fiscal 25 budget was presented in tentative form at the August 8th, 2024 committee of the whole meeting. The finalized version of the fiscal 25 budget is being presented for the public hearing and formal adoption at this evening's meeting. So at 8:00 p.m., I call this public hearing to order on Thursday, September 26, 2024, for the Oak Park River Forest High School District 200 2024-2025 budget. This budget was placed on display for public inspection on August 16, 2024 for 30 days per state code. Notice that this public hearing has been posted on our website and appeared in the Friday, August 16, 2024 edition of the Chicago Tribune. At this time, I ask for any public comment regarding the 2024-2025 budget.
There are no public comments.
At 8:01 p.m., I am now closing this public hearing. Okay, and we now move to our consent agenda. So before listing the consent items, are there any that board members would like to address or pull or in any way, shape, or form? Fred?
F.
F. Okay, and also J, please. Okay. So, others? Okay. So I move to approve the consent items as follows. A, approval of the open, closed, and special minutes of August 22 and September 12, 2024, and a declaration that the audio tapes of the closed session minutes of November 2022 be destroyed. B, approval of the personnel recommendations, including new hires, assignment changes, temporary hires, and resignations. C, approval of the August and September 2024 check disbursements and financial resolutions, including the payroll resolutions for October 2024. D, approval of the July 2024 treasurer's report as presented. E, approval of the resolution of designated depositories for the 2024-2025 school year as presented. G, approval of the 2025 Jostens yearbook contract as presented. H, approval of the purchase of the virtual servers in the amount of $178,341.50. I, approval of the additional members of the Culture, Climate, and Behavior Committee for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
And may we have a roll call for this, please?
Mr. Whitworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams-Lee? Yes. Dr. Livingston?
Yes.
Dr. Maharaj?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Arkin?
Yes.
And Mr. Costa?
Yes. Okay, now we'll move back to and handle them one at a time. So now I move to approve the 2024-2025 mass transit exclusion as presented. And ask for a second. And discussion. Right?
So I pulled this primarily because we've had some correspondence from people to members of the board regarding this particular item. And since it's on the consent agenda, I think it's important to speak about what it is not, and what we can do. I think the gist of the correspondence that we had really had to do with, the quality of service of our local transit, agencies, or providers. And so, whether, Tony, I don't know if you want to bring the answer to this, or Dr. Johnson, is what exactly is this? And then are there other remedies? Because if we're to vote this down, it's my understanding that then we would have to provide transportation. And, is that, I'm assuming that's expensive. And what other remedies might we be able to help provide those students that are having problems?
Sure. Yes, this, in areas that are heavily, serviced by public transportation, the Illinois State Board of Education, allows districts to utilize, the public transportation to transport students to school, as opposed to, say, going out to bid or having to run their own busing service. If the board was to vote this down, we would have to either attempt to acquire enough buses and route for an entire school year. And that's an extended process. Districts that have an in-house service, it generally takes the majority of the summer to set up those routes. If we were to go to bid, it's tough to say without doing a routing study, but the cost would be in the millions. My biggest concern is that in seeing the responses from the public transportation bodies, they're suffering from much of the same issues that our third-party transportation provider is suffering from, and pretty much all school bus companies across the nation are right now, and that's just a shortage of drivers. Pace had sent an email to families that had stated, when they experience larger than expected call-offs, they have a hard time filling all of their routes. That is not much different than what many districts are hearing from third-party transportation providers right now. So my fear would be that we would not be able to make this situation any better or more effective right now, given the market. I think some solutions can be an outreach to PACE to plead with them to, if there are call-offs, to prioritize routes that service our students, especially during arrival and dismissal times. We can also attempt to see our buses running, but they're running behind schedule, and do some investigation that way. But I just fear that we would not, beyond the fiscal sustainability of adding that amount of cost to our budget in perpetuity, I would fear that we'd be doing that with service not improving.
Questions, Tim?
Just to follow up with that, and thank you for your answers earlier, they're helpful, Tony. I really feel for the families that have contacted us and that are reliant on PACE and on our public transportation system. And I think what our families are telling us is that right now, they don't consider our public transportation options to be adequate. And so you just explained, I think, you made a really rational case for why trying to stand up our own bus service to our families in the district this school year, it makes no sense to even attempt that. We wouldn't be able to achieve that. But our legal obligation is to provide public transit unless there's adequate, or provide bus service unless there's adequate public transit. And so I'm really, the thing that I'm struggling with is how we define adequate and how we make that judgment in future school years. So I would love going forward. I don't think this is a thing that we can it's going to determine anything tonight, but in future years, if the PACE service doesn't improve, if we can't rely on that, okay, when does it become inadequate? And I really am puzzled by that. I don't know what that standard would be. So any guidance the administration can provide on that in future years, how to judge, how to gauge where families are experiencing, and public transit options are adequate or inadequate, that would be really helpful.
That I'd be happy to start to do a little bit of background investigation in terms of judging adequacy. And then also reaching out to PACE to try to determine, are we seeing buses that are not running? Is it delay in buses that are running and that's causing the issue? Right now, I know that there's especially as we get closer and closer to the school, is the combination of local road construction along with our school construction causing any delays. Trying to get to a little bit more of the root of the issue to help in the future as well.
Yeah, yeah, that may be true for the Lake Street east-west route, but the families that we're hearing from, we're talking about the original bus, the north-south route, the Oak Park Avenue north-south route. So that, I would think that would be, our construction is not causing those delays or those issues. That's a pace issue. What families are reporting to us is that the bus doesn't come, doesn't show up, right? It says in the app that it's going to be there, and then it just doesn't come at all. So that really impacts our students. I would hope that the other thing that we could do during the school year is to try to enlist the help of our elected representatives and Senator Harvey and others, and potentially reach out to other districts who are in the same situation that we are, that enact a similar kind of resolution that rely on public transit to be adequate or not being well served by PACE right now. We strike the numbers. If there are other districts that are experiencing subpar service, maybe we can join together and work together. I think we owe it to our families that are experiencing these conditions to make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah, so Tony, thank you for the information, and I do, and I do like with the parent, with parents and families that are dealing with it, and I appreciate taking the opportunity to see what we can do. I just want us to be cautious. Something like advocacy camp is so hard to define. It's going to differ. It's kind of based on where things. I don't know if we can come up with a good definition of it. I guess I don't want the administration to spend a ton of time, I guess, going down what could be a rabbit hole. Quite frankly, I'm trying to figure some things out. I think talking with representatives, I think figuring out what other districts are doing. Is there anything? Some of the challenges I've seen with the, just with busing, buses in general, that have been labor. I mean, Chicago public schools couldn't get their buses running, school buses this past year because of labor shortages. And that labor thing is not changing anytime soon. Everything that I've been able to look at and be able to read. So I want us to approach it thoughtfully, which I know Tony and the team will do. I also don't want to feel like we are trying to probably solve something that just may not be, quite frankly, able to be solvable in ways that are going to be sufficient or satisfactory to everyone. So I just want to be cautious in terms of how we go about it. Let's look into it, but I don't want it to become this, big additional project or work that needs to be done for the corporate administration.
I'm asking for the administration to ask for a lawyer what they're going to see. That's not a lot of work. That's all I'm asking for.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that it's incumbent upon us to act as advocates on our students' behalf through these agencies. And I don't see anything wrong with someone in our administration picking up the phone and calling PACE and say, hey, we have problems with route A, C, and D. They're not picking up our students. All right, this is a problem. And there are times when squeaky wheels get greased.
And I say because what I'm hearing is my interpretation is going beyond. I mean, I'm hearing let's do this, let's do this, let's do that. I mean, yeah, let's look into it and see what we can find. I just don't want to turn into this big effort to spend a lot of time and resources.
Well, I understand that,
right? So I mean, absolutely, we should try to advocate and see what we can do. Again, I don't know that it's going to be solvable just from what's happening from a labor perspective, but I do think there are things that the suggestion could they run more buses or make sure that our routes can be done during kids coming to school and going home and things like that. Yeah, I absolutely agree with it. I'm just very sensitive to resources and potential costs of trying to solve something that just may be very challenging to solve. And again, the way I interpret it, like we're going down some suggestions on how we solve it, and I just rather just kind of have a team go and look into it and advocate and see what we can find out.
Okay,
I think the issue is, last year, this topic comes up every year, and last year is just a rubber stamp. This year is different, because suddenly we're getting correspondence from multiple people, not just one. And this issue about labor challenges affecting CDL holders have been persistent since the pandemic. So it's not like suddenly this year there's a new challenge with labor, because that's existed now for several years. So there's just a couple of questions. I recognize the difficulty in doing a district-wide RFP for bus services, something like that. But is it possible to provide a single lane of service? Because all the complaints have come from South Oak Park relating to the Richmond service. Is it possible for a district to provide bus service in just a single lane? Or when a district does provide bus service, it has to be for the entire district?
I will need to confirm, but since we're talking about general education, transportation, I do believe that if we provide for one, we need to provide for all.
I believe that, yeah, that's my understanding as well.
Okay. Is there a deadline for the filing of this mass transit exemption?
There is, I do not know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's in the resolution itself, but I know there's a deadline. I also do not know it off the top of my head.
And I realize it's hard to measure this because we don't know what percentage of students are feeling affected coming from South Oak Park. But do you have any concerns about submitting this exemption in which the district will provide an attestation to the state that public transit resources are adequate, quote unquote, for our district?
I do not feel that we are misrepresenting the situation by filing this, by proving and filing this. I do believe it is a situation that 100% deserves advocacy and monitoring. My office that handles the majority of communication for transportation. We have not received any notifications of this prior until the last board meeting, and even then, the comments went to the board and not to my office. So this seems to be a newer situation, but given the number of students that are still able to get to school, it isn't. And I don't want my comment to sound as if I sympathize or don't sympathize with any students that are running late because of the bus. But we have not noticed, say, 20% of our population now is arriving late because of public transportation. So I still feel comfortable with this resolution, but I do agree that it deserves outreach and monitoring.
And I totally get that. That's a significant undertaking to try to run an RFP for busing services and significant costs and so on. I would just want to make sure that we don't just do a shoulder shrug and say, oh, this is too tough to handle, or labor's tight, and yada yada. So is there some concrete steps that the administration would be prepared to take short of initiating bus services, but in some way communicating with, pressuring, analyzing what PACE is doing, and if you need our help, we can leverage that. There's a political component to it, but would the administration commit to some measure of concrete steps to try to get better service out of PACE?
Yes, 100%.
I look forward to those concrete steps. Thank you.
So I'm gonna be the historian. That's one of my roles. 12 years, this is the first year in 12 that there has been any voice on this. So it is that doesn't mean that there haven't been issues, but I'm just providing facts. So your comment about last year, this is the first time we've heard anything, which fits the pattern of, what the bigger climate is, but this is, for those of you who are, first or second year board members and wondering, have we been through this and just put our head in the sand? The answer is this is the first time that we have received one comment on this map, just factual.
Tom, that hopefully fits my family's experience.
Yeah.
Taking the Lake Street bus from River Forest.
Yeah.
My student and her friend group, that's now 2 years removed, but until 2 years ago, it was incredibly reliable. Like, it was like clockwork coming across Lake Street. So I was really surprised to see these emails, and see the Facebook thread. But
So
there's a lot of people now who are saying the same thing, that today's conditions are not what they used to be.
Right, that's, okay. All right, so with that said, we will call the roll on the motion, please.
Frank Langston,
Yes.
Mr. Ainsley. Yes. Mr. Lisman,
Yes.
Dr. Maharaj,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Arkin,
Yes.
and Mr. Costa.
Yes. And lastly, I move to approve the community council members for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
And discussion, please.
Yeah, I asked for this before, like this agenda, just because I wanted to highlight the changes to the makeup of the community council. I wanted to congratulate Dr. Johnson and the leaders of community council for engaging over the last year and making some real changes to the makeup of the group. And I suspect the direction of community council. 34 new members, it's fantastic. And among those, some community leaders, the organizations that are connectors to others in the community. So last year we identified a couple of issues. One of those was that community council wasn't functioning as the community feedback loop that we hoped that it was. And by adding those community leaders, I think that really is going to go a long way to enhance it. That feedback loop function that we know that we want, that we know that our community is asking for. So kudos to you, Craig, for adding those community leaders. I think it's fantastic and I really welcome development. I think it's great too. It's the biggest council, I think, ever. 76 members overall. That's great. 34 new ones. And one of the things that we heard last year from the members of the council was that the parent members is that it provides a real benefit to them as parents to help their students navigate our sometimes challenging environment. And the only issue with that is that we extend the benefit to a small number of parents, but we don't extend that benefit to the other 3,000 families, right? And so there's an equity involved. And so I'm delighted that so many more parents have been invited into the tent. I think the challenge for the coming year is I hope that we will continue to welcome every parent and the community council. I hope we'll continue to advertise the fact that it's open to all. If we have been approved by the board, if we don't have a nameplate, we want parents to take advantage of the opportunity to meet with the administration. Do you want anything about sort of a new direction or the fact that we are inviting community leaders to be part of council?
I don't know that I can expound much more on the topics you named. I mean, that was the purpose of it. As the year we have a lot of people who express interest. One of the things that we've seen in previous years with the council is that the number of folks who are able to attend all the meetings or regularly attend just a small group of the meetings kind of has dwindled over the years. So part of the idea, we recognize not every single person attend every single one of our council meetings, but we do believe and hope that we will have a kind of a rich, diverse, thoughtful group together for our council meetings so that we get, some good information back and forth about what we're doing in school and ways that we are doing well and ways that we can, that we can improve. So we're excited for this year. So thank you for the comments.
That's great.
And the leaders of the council have been great.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Michelle and Karen.
to you and congratulations to the co-chairs for their engagement on this. It's been great.
Yeah.
Okay, and I completely agree, so thank you for polling and just recognizing those. And my only question, great, thank you for getting back to me earlier regarding my questions about the size. I agree, I think it's broader and making sure that they have enough council members there that have a great dialogue is important. Just from a governance perspective, I'd like the council update the bylaws just to reflect the size piece, to be consistent with what our practice is.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And so the question is, when we do that, we're kind of trying this model out this year. And so we'll see how that unfolds and then make adjustments when appropriate. So
what you kind of documented what we're doing, but I think this approach makes a lot of sense, so I'm excited to see how it's going.
thank you.
Great, thanks for the dialogue and comments, and I ask for a roll call.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Dr. Maharaj.
Yes.
Mr. Arkin.
Yes.
Ms. Williams. Yes. Dr. Livingston.
Yes.
Mr. Ramos.
Yes.
And Mr. Costa.
Yes. So that completes our consent agenda with all items passing, and we move to our individual action items. So first up, I move to approve the resolution to adopt the budget for the 2024-25 fiscal year as presented.
Second.
And discussion. Any? I have a few comments, just, I've raised some points along the way. And first I would like to, thank the administration for continuing to work the budget and look at the conservatism in it. I've voiced concern about the rate of expense growth, and I will continue to carry that with me until my last minute. Because it is really about the long-term financial health of the district. So I do appreciate the efforts and refinements in it. And I will be in support. Great.
All right. You raised the point, but I appreciate you answering the follow-up question I had by email, which is how this year's increase compared to historical 5 years. So after adjustments, we've got a 6.11% increase, which is materially larger than your average for the last 5 years. It's basically 2x. And I'm sure you must have it because you're doing a forecast of the fund balance out to 2029. But off the top of your head, what is your expectation about annual increases in expenses going forward? Are they more likely to remain in the roughly 3% range, or are they more likely to remain in the 6 or more percent?
So I can jump in on this question. The financial projection is currently showing increases. Let's see. So next, hang on, I'm just pulling it up real quick. So fiscal year 26. Now this is operating expenditures. We're projecting 4.1% increase, and then the 3 years following are between 2 and 3% per year. Obviously, a lot of that's going to depend on, employee contracts, how those are renegotiated, as well as other contracts such as transportation and some of these other things that run on 2 to 3 year spans. But the assumptions that we've worked in and kind of used as our baseline and carrying point and reviewed with the CFC have us set to be more in that 2 to 4% range in years going forward.
Okay, so this year, slide 5, this year is basically an anomaly, you're saying. It's 6.11% increase, but that's gonna be the outlier rather than the go forward expectation.
Yes, so that's what we're assuming, yes.
Any further questions? That said, then I ask for roll call, please.
Ms. Williams-Lee,
Yes.
Dr. Livingston,
Yes.
Mr. Livingston,
Yes.
Mr. Arkin,
Yes.
Dr. Maharaj,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Yes.
and Mr. Carlson.
Yes. The motion passes. And our second action item is the approval of an additional Spanish speaking teaching assistant at a total estimated cost of $42,799.50.
Exactly.
I'd hate to say 51 cents, but
We like to
my
emphasize.
mathematical significant figures. So that's the motion. I know, I'm looking for a second. I was just the neighbor, but. Okay, now that we have that, we can have discussion. So
Yeah, if you have any questions, we also have folks here. Questions you may have.
Just want to first identify that this is Eric Rancheria. Eric is the ELL teacher that we hired last year to work specifically with our newcomer students.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I have a question, and it's, kind of also goes to the growth and what we're seeing with, have we got projections or if there were to project in terms of what we anticipate, our needs may be in this area over the coming few years?
So we can only look at and look to the middle schools to determine what is already within our community. But not relative to newcomer or transfer students. And so we have looked and we will continue to see over the next few years increases because of the students that are sitting in the middle school already.
But we can at least look baseline based on the middle school. On the bigger schools, as far as we know, but obviously at any time we could have a lot more.
Correct. So because the Illinois State Board of Education required us to, and we wanted to improve our ELO program, we will continue to need to add classes to our ELO program. We didn't add all of them at one time, so each year we're rolling in new courses. So this year, in just a few weeks, when I come to the board with course proposals, we have a course proposal for another history class and an ELO biology class. So every year we will continue to add classes and expand the program. Not to say we will every year need more staff, but right now the teaching assistant is critical because, and Mr. Rancheria might be able to elaborate, the students' access scores are putting them at the 1.8, 1.9 range. And so their ability to interact academically and socially is at that very beginner stage. And so they require a lot of assistance to academically and socially navigate the building, let alone just succeed in the academics, but navigating and then all of the emotional trauma that they're experiencing is going to require.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, I almost said my kids, they make me, I had them for the last couple months and they're like, what are your kids for hiring kids, but the students try so hard to pick up the language, English, they're trying so hard and they progress so much since I've taken over the program and working with them. They still need help navigating, they're still learning language on top of learning a new topic in math, science, history, even in gym sometimes where they don't understand what's going on. On top of that, they're learning a new culture, they're learning a new environment, they're learning how different it is to be in Oak Park, River Forest compared to where they were. It's completely different. I've seen kids not know how to ask for the bathroom in terms of like they'll just get up and try to go because that's what they were used to. And a parent expressed concern with safety concerns, be not letting their student go out where they're from, and now they're going to homecoming dance and they're riding a bike to school. So the differences that they're dealing with, the culture differences, is something that we will never understand. They're just coming from a whole different background, and not having English on top of that just puts so much pressure on them that socially, emotionally, they're just frustrated, tired. They put so much energy trying to pick up a new language, and when they don't understand something, they're frustrated, and it visibly shows when I see a kid break down in front of me because they tried so hard to understand a new topic, math, but they just couldn't, and they tried their best. And they try to ask questions, but they just couldn't understand it just because of the language barrier. And that's just how that happens on a weekly basis, where they're just frustrated, they're crying in front of me. It's heartbreaking because they're trying their best, but they just can't do it. It's hard.
So first of all, I want to thank you for what you do. This is kind of this is close to my heart because my stepdaughter came here 5 days before she enrolled in the school and didn't speak much English or read much English, and because of the school she's been able to do very, very well, and she very highly. And my question is, you're asking for a single teaching assistant. And my question is that adequate for the number of students that we have?
I think it's adequate for this school year, and then we will need to evaluate the students that are coming to us. As you see, our newcomers are 16, there's 16 newcomers. So we need to thoroughly look at, for the next 4 years in middle school, what is already coming. And then anticipate on top of that, that we still may get another few newcomer students. And look at 4 years out where we want the program. So in 4 years, what classes do we want to offer? Right now, we've just been dipping our toe and trying to make sure that we're keeping up with the influx of newcomers that we got just a year ago.
Could you also, in response to, could you also draw attention to what's in your memo about additional support that we will need, potentially for this school year as well?
Oh, yes,
And-
yes. In the memo, I did indicate that the families, in addition to the students, need social work services. We had our very first bilingual meeting last night. We had parents that were there, and they emotionally spoke about the need that they have, that they go to a doctor, but they cannot speak Spanish. So they have no concept of what's about to happen to them. They can't express what they need. And so they're moving around our community in fear, not understanding. And also on top of all that, as Mr. Renteria said, dealing with the trauma of where they come from. And so we will be seeking a contract for a part-time social worker for our families and our newcomer students. And once we secure the contract, we will come back to the board with that information. But we are contacting different companies to see if we can provide that support to our families. We had a phenomenal meeting last night. In and out, we learned so very much about the things that we could be doing to better support our families, ways we can communicate about what is homecoming. We allowed their students to go to homecoming, but we didn't front load it. We didn't tell them what it was, what it would look like, that their kids could come for the whole evening and that they'd be supervised. So a parent
sat in her car around the corner because she was afraid of what was gonna happen to her student. So these are really critical positions that we need. And Ms. Sagun, while she couldn't be here, and Mr. Renteria, who gives up his plan every single day to work with these students. And he does it on his own because he just really cares about these kids. So I think at the end of the school year, we will have to have a very formal next 4 years where we want to be, where we think all of these students will migrate to what classes, and we'll have to have a more substantial idea of what we need over the next 4 years.
But I just want to say thank you for this. I'm super supportive. I love hearing this. I know there's a huge need. I also would like to see OPRF in the future really lead the being more nimble in this area and identifying what the other languages that are coming into our community. And I say this because from experience doing evaluation in Chicago Public Schools, we always had survey administrations, that's a Spanish version. One day I showed up at a school in Lakeview, and there happened to be a significant migrant population that spoke some variation of Creole. And I could tell it was incredibly traumatic for them to not take part in these activities. And it was it really stuck with me. So I think just looking at any ways that we can really be extra nimble in identifying what's coming our way, training our professionals in new languages as well, providing those resources to them, just be great ways to.
Yes, thank you.
Great.
So I think we're acting on this tonight. We're gonna vote on this tonight. So
Correct.
what are the HR steps and the timing? If we approve tonight, how much time and steps are needed before the new TA is having their first day in the building?
Well, we'll post the position right away. We posted the position last year, so we already have all of the paperwork posted right away. And then it's a matter of who applies, how many apply, interview, and get them onboarded right away.
Is that like 4 weeks? A 2-week process or an 8-week process? I'm just curious how quickly.
So I hesitate to even say, because it could be 2 weeks because we have 6 candidates. It could be 4 weeks because we have none. But we will do what we can to put things out on social media. Ms. Sagun will use her contacts. Our current Spanish-speaking TAs and teachers will be connecting with their peers and colleagues to let them know what we have available. I know we put things out on our LinkedIn's and Facebook, so we will do everything we can to move as quickly as possible to support our kids. Thank you.
Marianne?
Yes, sorry, thank you. My my signal dropped for a minute. I'm in support of this. There's a clear need. I had one question about an additional, and I know you have a set of additional supports that you're planning on from the memo. But I'm wondering if we will if sorry, I'll just say I was when I was in high school, which was many decades ago, I was at a school that was majority white, and at somewhere around my junior year, they put together an affinity group for students of color, and there were, I want to say, it was a small high school. It was like 10 of us out of 300, and I think when we came to that first meeting, we did not necessarily think that it was going to be useful, but it very much was. So and so I just wanted to mention that, and in addition to the staffing supports, I guess I would sort of recommend that if it's not already on your radar, which it may already be, that you consider some sort of a informal meetup group for these students. I'm even thinking like I don't know what they use to communicate with each other, but if they have an easy way to talk to each other outside of school hours, and I'm thinking my students, I set up a hallway Slack for them in the classes so that they can ask each other questions rather than just asking me. And they often solve their problems faster than if they wait for me. So I just wanted to throw that out there in case it's helpful. Thank you.
So we do have a club currently. I'll let Mr. Renteria speak to that.
Yeah, we do have a club named Espira. It's a Hispanic focused club that where everyone's welcome. They actually took the charge last year to get help and support for migrants and people that didn't speak English, in particular the Spanish speakers, help as much as they could. And they personally gave tours, they personally ran drives. And this year, our plans are to go ahead and do a winter drive before winter hits to get them winter clothing, because some of them are worried about the cold. And Aspida, and I'll give a huge shout out to the sponsors, Kelly Diaz and Stephanie Oliver, who are both Spanish teachers here. They do fantastic work with those kids, and they've been trying ever since the need had arisen for these kids to get help. They stepped up to the plate. And I just want to give a huge shout out, and there is clubs like that that are willing to support these new students that are coming in. And then inviting them personally and taking them personally this homecoming themselves, taking them onto the dance floor, taking pictures of it. It was so fantastic to see these group of kids that probably didn't feel socially, emotionally supported, now getting the support they need from students here, raised by OPRF, because they've taken that mantle.
The last thing I'll say is that we also have engaged, at least right now, one, but we are seeing some success, so we're going to continue to do it. We have our senior students who have been in their language and are almost at the biliteracy seal. We are utilizing those students. So Mr. Renteria has one student that comes into the class and engages with the Spanish students, and they enjoy this young man, get very excited when he comes. He can speak to them, so he's getting something as well as they're getting something. And so we will be expounding on that. Last night, we remained with our counselor, Derek Radishewski, and Ms. Sagoon, and we plotted out a number of other things that we can do. So what we're asking for is this ask, but just know behind the scenes, there are a number of people that are doing a lot of things to try to utilize our resources that we have, our peers, that we can make sure that our students, all students, feel comfortable, welcome, and see our language and our culture represented here at Oak Park.
Can I just, I'm sorry, just to clarify, that all sounds terrific, and very much appreciate the student club reaching out and being so supportive. But I think what I was trying to get at was that these students, I know you don't want them to feel like they are being set apart, and you are trying to bring them into the school culture and community, but at the same time, and they are probably not all coming from identical backgrounds. So, but I guess I'm just wondering whether for this incoming set of migrant students for 2024, whether it might be helpful for them to have just a group within themselves to talk to each other.
Yeah, sure.
That's the main thing I was trying to get across. Thanks.
Yes, I appreciate it. We will absolutely consider that.
Yeah, let's move to our call the roll, please. This is just in support of the addition of a teaching assistant as requested. So a roll, please.
Mr. Arkin?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Livingston?
Yes.
Dr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mr. Barnhorse?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
And Mr. Thompson?
What's the score right now?
In favor of us, sir.
Yes. 7-0. That's the score.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and our next action item is I move to approve the resolution recognizing the 2025.
Yes, it is, referring to this school year.
Okay, 2024-25. Can I
Feel free to editorialize.
Can I editorialize? Because I mean, if it's 2025, what?
It's not what
What's the resolution say?
2025.
No, but okay, I'm living in the future. 2025 semifinalists of the National Merit Scholarship Corporation and the College Board National African American, Hispanic, and Indigenous Recognition Program. Anyone want a second? Anyone want a dialogue about this one?
I'll just say congratulations to all of our kids for the incredible recognition. We had a recognition breakfast about 2 weeks back, just after this came public. And it was great to see all the kids and their parents there in the morning. And of course, don't forget the commended students that are recognized in the superintendent's announcement earlier today. So a lot of impressive things happening academically.
Okay. Thank you for those comments and the roll, please.
Dr. Livingston,
Yes.
Ms. Williams-Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Brisbane,
Yes.
Dr. Maharaj,
Yes.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Mr. Arkin,
Yes.
and Mr. Thompson.
Yes. And our last action item is I move to approve the pilot program to appoint student delegates to the Board of Education from January 2025 through May 2026. Hey, I'm looking at the years here. God, we're in the future, folks.
Second.
All right, thank you. Discussion.
I just want to highlight, there were 3 suggestions that were made in our last conversation. I think, Reverend Livingston suggested we have some sort of stop time that's in here. We're gonna throw out 10 PM, to kind of get that. I think it was Mr. Arkin, but, and several others, I think, that talked about maybe increasing the number from 6 to 8 so that it's even for each of the grade levels. And, additionally, it was Reverend Monroe who suggested we do this as a pilot, through a year, and let's figure out how that's going before we commit to it on a permanent basis. I also want to make a note, we had talked about this as an ambassador program, but we found that there was a small group of students who were helping out in our activities office downstairs who use that title. So to avoid the confusion, student delegates it is. So we're excited to get this one started. Great.
I'm fully in support of this. I think it's a long time coming, and I want to thank Dr. Johnson for all of his work and research in putting this together. One of the things that I want to make sure that we are going to be able to do a good job is in terms of orienting the students. Because there are some great subtleties in the difference between board work and administrative work. And so, we're not looking for students to come here and tell us that, they need more pepperoni pizza and lunchroom. We're expecting them to engage in board level work is what I'm saying. So, and I think that's going to take some orientation in managing their expectations of also.
Yeah, I think the recognition of that, the desire for that level of engagement is something that I was really able to get a good feel for in talking to our students. They're aware of that. And they're looking to lean into those kinds of conversations. Additionally, that's also why we designed this model the way it is. right? So that there's not only, we're not just looking to get one student to the table, we are looking to get something that is integrated, linked to our existing student governance structure on student council. It's also why we had that reciprocal quality in there as well. That I remember the Grandmas you spoke to 2 weeks ago, that we're looking for board members to be part of the conversations at student council, so they the connections to that high level work that you're referring to are consistently open to the students. So the next step, not to discuss here, but our next step is to figure out which two board members are going to kick this off for the first conversation with our students. But again, that's not till second semester, so you have plenty of time to think about it, but let me know if you're interested.
Well, I could add to what Fred said. I agree, Fred, having the orientation and having the support for students is something that's all in research, and we're looking at what other districts did, with having students participate. And perhaps something we can look at with respect to responsibility of board members who go to student council is you could serve as maybe mentors or like someone the students are paying, but they kind of be a point of contact for students, so they feel like they have a relationship with a member who they can come to if they have questions. So we may want to think about making that a bit more formalized, just so that they can get what they need.
Yeah, my comments, I'm very supportive of this and I'm excited that we're moving to this level. In the goals, listed, it talks about to help the students in a variety of ways. And I think what I'm hearing and what I kind of was talking to Dr. Benson, this is really a chance to give students to get involved in governance, right? And exposure. And I think we probably wouldn't have been prepared for that a few years ago. We've kind of had to get our own ship in order. In parallel to a discussion we had, and Audrey, I think you were making some points about internships. Success in a relationship like this is not, it takes preparedness, and it takes things like you just mentioned, where we need to, it isn't just, okay, we're doing it. It takes commitment and commitment by the board to assure that when the student has fulfilled their terms, that they really have something tangible that they can sit there and say, I did this. And it's an achievement, not just a box check, but I did something. And I think that will be very rewarding for the students, and I think it will be very beneficial for us as a board to have their voices in that process. So. Okay, Mary Ann.
Sorry, just a quick, I'm in favor, and I just wanted to acknowledge that the work of former board member Gina Harris, who when I first came on the board, really strongly advocated for student representation and kind of made the arguments and convinced me this hadn't really been on my radar before. So she's not here, and I just wanted to put that in the record. Thanks.
As well as your leadership, Audrey, and really bringing it to the table and helping us here. With that said, call the roll, please.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Brandhurst?
Yes.
Mr. Brisbane?
Yes.
Dr. Livingston?
Yes.
Dr. Martovich?
Yes.
Ms. Williams-Lee?
Yes.
And Mr. Coffey?
Yes. The motion passes, and that completes our action items for this evening.
May I ask a favor?
Yes.
I don't know if there'll be any questions from the board on the information item, but
You wanted to answer that?
of the 4 people sitting in the back of the room, if we could flip those to, if there are questions, that'd be great. If there are no questions, it's immaterial.
You're saying there's 4 people in the room that their interest in board governance is less than that of this, okay?
Yeah, I think there's 5 people.
But come here because this is, we have a student here too, so okay. I honor the request of the superintendent, and as such, are there any questions from the board on the informational item that is presented this evening?
Sorry, Tom, are we on board governance? Are we?
No, we just skipped, we leapfrogged board governance to information just so that we can free up some people.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Okay. But we soon will be on board governance.
Got it.
Okay, I hearing no questions, then your request has been honored. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. So board governance, in terms of where we are, the real, in my mind, action items we have upon us are to finalize our board goals. So, I'm just checking in of where we are on that.
Yeah. While people are pondering, can I just ask a question about the committee assignments? The email that was sent out with the Excel spreadsheet with the committee assignments, I don't know if I did something wrong, but it looks like it's out of date. Am I just really confused?
It's a 24-25 tab, so we're probably on the wrong tab.
2024-25 tab.
Oh, Lord. Okay, I'm really just not an Excel person. Okay, never mind, y'all. Go on.
And I write my love letters in Excel.
I had a moment where I was like, Sarah's on here. What? Okay, fine.
Okay, so it's a TMI.
Okay.
What? Did you say that? What'd you say? TMI. I'm just trying to, express. So, board goals is our really our key starting point. I mean, we have so the various groups were assigned to bring them forth, and I'm just doing a check-in. We have them compiled.
Yes.
Yep.
All 4 goals are there.
Yep. So I think
We did do,
We did this last week.
yeah, I know you did it when I wasn't here, so I'm just doing a check-in. So is there anything else then? Because I don't have anything else in governance, but open it up to others.
I do have, probably isn't a long topic at all, but at our last meeting, I'm pointing you here because you referenced, you have actually compiled the document that talks about, recommendation guidance for the development of reports. And our admin team has talked about that guidance, and we are ready to stand that up and begin implementing in October. I want to make sure that I just want to make sure that is the consensus of the board. I don't know if that's formal. Is that right?
Yeah, on September 12th, everybody got an email that has the board member manual that puts in one place the norms and operating rhythm we all agree to. And there's a page in there that's got a checklist for administration reports to the board. And I even, in that September 12th email in your inbox, pulled that out and made it a separate sheet down. So the question is, should the administration go forward using that checklist as they make sure each one of these items are in their typical reports? Or does anybody on this board disagree with that checklist, want something else? Much of that was created by Tom and I think a lot of it's fairly common sense. And also it did appear in those norms and operating rhythm Word documents that we were trading about last spring. But I think that's what the administration needs to know is should they start using that checklist going forward.
I think so.
I think, we should give it a try and if they become a hardship or something.
Yeah, in a meeting with some admin team members and who was there? Was that Grant and Tom? Was
You
that-
had me and Tom,
Yes,
you had
yeah,
Dr. Fiorenza, you had Mr. Arbogast.
yeah.
I think Principal Parker was there.
I think she came in, yeah.
And right, and they kind of had some, just clarification and some wording was modified just
Yeah.
to set the right expectation.
If something like that
Yeah.
is needed again after we implement for a little while, we'll sit down, we'll have another conversation. So we're really ready to go.
And one of the things from that meeting was also, we added some caveats, because not every situation is black and white, so.
Must change to, you
Right,
know,
yeah, and so
shall.
we're
Okay.
letting administration use best judgment when things aren't quite applicable.
I also appreciate that, you got their input, right? So you had the conversation
Yeah.
and you got the input, so I do, I think it's worth, first they give it a try. Go ahead and use it, we'll see, if it works the way we expect it to, for both of you and for us.
Right.
Okay, so I think we're kind of putting it, the other question, and again, if I missed it, which is you had kind of a couple different views of what board work looks like. And was there any resolution?
So basically, there's been no feedback on the slide deck, and that's okay. So I left both of those maps of board workflow in there.
Yes.
They're basically two different ways of viewing the same thing.
Graham, I skimmed it and I think it looked good to me. My only sort of initial thought was for a new board member coming in, this may still be overwhelming. And I wonder if there should be a accompanying kind of like one sheet for new board members, like here's like the first 5 things to do. Here's the link to the mission, read the mission. Here's the link to the strategic plan. Because I don't think most people would be able to take all of that in, especially without having actually attended at least a few board meetings first.
Well, that's a valid point.
Yeah.
President Kofsky, what do you want to do for new incoming board members who need to be appointed?
So that's an excellent question. And I will provide you a less than excellent answer. Now, I think there's a multiple, especially as we are coming into the election season, okay? I would just say that, there are a number of opportunities that we can provide information to, one would be in candidates who are interested in running for the board. That should be part, one of our duties is to explain what board work is. And so I would expect that plus some of the materials that are available from our trade association, we should provide. And I know there are forums that are coming forth for people who are interested in running the board. So I mean, this is just good information that can be available and can be talked to. So I would, it's not the whole deck, but at least it says this is what we do and believe, right? So that's the first and I'm just kind of going through what I would call chronology. Those are individuals who might be considering to be a board member. The second phase is those who then are successful in running and achieving the spot. I would say it's a rerun. I mean, so it's repetition, but it's a chance to, again, there is orientation that is done. And I would say my experience, which is a while ago, it's heavily led into administration, and it needs to be administration and board because they need to know what the administration does, but they need to know what the board does. And so that would be point number 2. of just kind of using this information as people move from interested to candidate, and then they're in the fold. And then even our discussion on student representation, I mean, a student would need to, this is what we're doing for government. So I think there's a lot of opportunity and application here just to share what we do, how we do it from a governance standpoint. Does that adequately answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, and I think what I was asking for, I realized the term I'm looking for is scaffolding. So for the educators in the room, like it would be great if there was a slightly scaffolded version of this for new board members. Just so they're not getting it all at once. So
Marianne, yeah, I'm listening to what you're saying and just thinking about, you know, for myself coming in, last year and information that you need to know. I think this is also a really good reference guide, check what you go back to, and something that you have that you can refer to. And if I'm hearing you, it'd be helpful to say, okay, but here are things that you should focus on most perhaps in your first 3 months. So, you know, there's some way of just providing guidance and direction. I mean, you know, if you're doing a open meetings act training, which helps you, but there's other training I did a little bit later that was helpful. But some of that I should have done sooner, right? So I think if we can help direct around what is most, because some things just you won't understand until you've gone through some meetings. But I think there is a sequencing of what's helpful to know when you're coming into this.
and maybe like in big red letters somewhere, if you're having IT problems, this is who you talk to. This is how you reach them. Because like so many times over the especially the first year, I was having Outlook issues or whatever else. So and it just really gets in the way of doing the work. Anyway, I'll stop babbling, guys. I have a slight fever. I'm sorry. Like trying to be coherent.
Okay, I think that covers our board governance and.
I just have
yes.
I prefer full chart too. I didn't know you back, I prefer diagram.
You like number 2?
I number 2.
Well, there's an opinion.
There we have right now, number 2 has a unanimous.
Single deciding opinion.
I
Thank you
abstained.
for that.
I abstained because I was too close to it, so I prefer the input of others.
What's our process for finalizing the board goals?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, do we vote? I mean, we don't.
Oh, I don't recall us voting. I remember.
No.
I don't remember.
So maybe it's just consensus.
Are there any changes? I need to see what was compiled. I missed it.
I think we should discuss next time. After we take a chance.
Yes. Were they sent out or?
I printed a copy.
Oh, okay. So it's sitting here.
Mhm. If not, I have extra.
Sure, you can have one.
That's why I didn't have Dr. Johnson stole. It says Kofsky's copy right here. Okay, so that's what I've been looking for is, yes, so our process is to review, and these are final as they stand, unless when we get together, there are, you know, edits, changes, or deletions. So we're gonna say they're done. So your way of having a voice is by raising your voice, because otherwise, any. All right. With that said, any other discussions on governance? Okay. And our last segment is our district, community, state, and committee reports. And first of all, I would like to express my appreciation to those who have taken a proactive step in sending the notes on what's happened, and so the need for reporting out on them would merely be any questions to the narratives that were presented, and that would be iGov, CCB, Apple. I think
the alumni association.
And the Alumni Association. So first out, since those were presented and communicated, are there any questions on the report outs for that? I had one, and it just ties to it, and I just wanted to confirm, and that was with iGov. The candidate forum, which is scheduled for October. I saw a couple of dates.
October 7th was the last time it was, when we met, that was they discussed. I put a note out to Luann, but I haven't heard back from Marianne. Have you heard?
Yeah, so it's a little confusing right now because Luann was out of town for I think her son's wedding maybe. And the library folks were trying to reach us, but like using the wrong email address. So there was some confusion. I'm gonna try and follow up with Luann just got back, so I'm gonna try and follow up with her tomorrow and see if we can lock some of this down.
I would appreciate knowing, just because one, you know, I've moved up IGov, but I know of specific individuals who I've mentioned this is coming, and I just want them to connect them to it. So
I've blocked out the evening, so like I'm able to be there repping D200 at whatever time it is if needed. So
so that was my only question on them. Any other questions on the written reports?
Oh, there was one from Grant as well for community council. That was like
Yes, he sent his in earlier, right? Yes.
It's like a week or two ago.
Yes. Yes.
Which for the record, I'm perfectly happy to be the representative on the community council. I just have a conflict until November, soccer practice. So I'll need someone to
fill in until the.
So you need somebody to watch your son.
So quite the contrary, somebody just for that one remaining, I think it's October 6th.
It's actually next Tuesday.
Yes.
October 1st.
I'm sorry, October 1st, so if you know, one of you would be willing, that would be fantastic. But yeah, I'm happy to take that on. Sorry about that. It's great.
I have one.
Yes,
question. Having to do with the Alumni Association and, you know, the summer enrichment grants. I know since the pandemic, there really haven't been school-sponsored trips. Oh, okay. Are those coming back this year?
They are. I don't have information to give you specific details right now, but they are coming back. This school, we have approved some already. Ms. Hawkins, who was here earlier, they go through her initially, and I know for a fact she's approved some. I could see if I could get you in our weekly.
No, I just want to be able to get some back to this association.
All right.
Yes,
Got it.
the school summer sponsored trips are.
Let them know it's back, baby.
Okay. Because there is a deadline.
Oh, sorry, what's it get for?
No, I was gonna say there is a deadline for the students to apply for the grants, which is end of February.
Okay, that's helpful to know. My son's going to Costa Rica, right? So there's a trip to Costa Rica.
There we go.
In July. And then
Yeah, but I think Costa Rica went last year and it wasn't really school sponsored.
This is.
This will include market.
Yeah, this is
They'll get a
full-fledged.
full year of science credit.
Okay.
They get classes starting.
Oh, okay.
This is biology, heavy biology, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And that program is completely back for what it was pre-pandemic. So that's just one example.
All right, and so that covers the ones. I'm just gonna open it up, and any of
Let me
the,
knock 3 off the list.
yeah,
So Community Finance Committee doesn't meet again until November.
No. Community Finance?
yes,
CFC meets October 16th.
What?
October 15th to 16th.
Oh, my mistake, thank you. for catching that. Thanks somehow, please.
We could push it to November. I mean, it's not a problem.
okay,
So we meet. October. 2 days ago, we had Sustainability Committee, and I just haven't had a chance to write up those notes. So that was a good meeting. I'll write some notes out for that. And then Boosters hasn't asked for anything, but I did send an email to Jen Hart, the new president, just introducing myself, saying that I will again be their liaison. And she may not even realize that if she wants board presence, she gotta ask for it, so I just let her know. Let us know if you want us present, so those are my three. Check off the lists.
All right, thank you. Any others?
Facilities committee's not meeting until, I think, October.
Yeah,
And I believe we have our collaboration
yes,
date scheduled for
for 2 meetings so far. So the first,
December the 4th.
December 4th is the tri-board
Correct.
meeting.
That's
Then
when,
there's
where,
before that, October 23rd,
Mhm.
where the representatives will meet. And I am nominating Michael Livingston to run the meeting for this school year. Since we're hosting, they need a board member to
so
run
he's
the
gonna
meetings,
chair.
the meetings, so.
Excellent.
So that it wasn't canceled and that was I thought there was a cancellation for the October meeting. Oh,
October
okay.
23rd,
Got it.
December 4th, I still have to schedule the final meeting for the school year, so that's the only.
I accept this.
And is that here
Yes.
in this room?
So the one for October 23rd would be, the one December 4th, because it's a larger mass of people, will probably be, I'm trying to get to South Cap because it's big.
Yeah, I think it's been there before. Even.
We were in the North Cap, I'm gonna try
Oh, okay.
to move it to the, that is looking.
That's the falls meeting is on the 9th, I think.
Which one?
Falls, I think they're the second Tuesday of
Yes.
the month.
Yes.
And so similarly, I reached out just to say, you know, what do you think? So.
And the Oak Park Council of Governance, there is continued sharing of practices from a governance, so some of the things that we're doing, sharing what park districts and others are doing, just looking for commonality and best practice, so that's what the last focus is. Okay. And is that?
I do have a question. Are we removing the last one, the superintendent student advisory council?
That's not on the agenda. Yeah, that should not be on, because of what we're doing now with the student
I
board. That
just
should,
wanna, since it's voted, okay.
I don't see it on here. Am I missing it?
It's on mine, never mind.
Yeah, that's on that.
It's okay.
Okay.
I have two more quick ones.
Yes, sir.
The Scholarship Foundation had its 3-hour kickoff orientation meeting 2 Saturdays ago. It's such a great group. They do a great job bringing in new scholarship sponsors, supporting existing ones, managing funds, et cetera. So they're off to a great start. We're close community collaboration that last night. Early feedback about having a student representative to the board. I took them through that. I thought they were probably going to do it tonight, and they were fascinated by it. And it's really interested in the mechanics of it, how it's actually going to work, and the fact that board members are going to go to student council and engage with the students in their space. They thought that was just a gem addition to that. So really good early support feedback.
Excellent.
And Tim, just one question, a request with the scholarship foundation. I know that last year we were trying to get Apple connected into the scholarship foundation because they're concerned about publicizing their scholarships that they offer them every year, but it just came up in January, so it was later. So I'd like to make sure they can get connected in this year. They give out $500 scholarships, and and you basically only need a C average. It actually is a way for students who typically may not be able to qualify for other scholarships to get some. So I think, and they want to publicize it more, get it out there more. So if you can get, you know, their user connected in with the scholarship team.
I'll reach out to that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay. With that said, are there any future agenda items that individuals would like to consider? I think the fact that we were talking about 2025 and 2026 earlier, we are certainly focused on the future, so needing more future items is probably not necessary this time. With that said, I move to adjourn. The meeting.
Second.
And I ask for a roll call, or a voice vote, or just a hand up in the air, a voice vote. All in favor? Aye.
We missed Ralph. We jumped on the stairs. Remember that?